interests and selfish ways. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all want House of Prayer to be like what we're seeing when we go to these other churches? Do y'all want House of Prayer to be like that? Let me ask y'all, do y'all want us to be like that? Do y'all know why we got the Spirit of God? Because of Elder. But do y'all know that y'all are slowly desecrating it?
You better say it. That's true.
I have to be honest. I have to be honest with us. Because this is involving all these children in here. These are involving my grandbabies. These are involving...
What y'all tell us not to do.
And everybody in here know exactly what we stand.
That's right.
Don't fight us. Y'all about to break our hearts. Read.
We can no longer consider worldly possessions or even our lives as being our own. After our
Not your own. We are not free to do anything we want to do. Keep this in mind. You are not your own. And when we back up and do what we don't think that we have, you're your own. Saints, we're a prisoner. We are bound and chained by this ministry. We are bound and chained by this ministry. If we want to see things happen, saints, if we want to see things happen, we better keep this church consecrated. That church ain't And we got other people in other churches that say they are saved. And they doing things. And here you go. This stuff is not all right, saints. I ain't going to tell you. I can't tell you enough. And I'll be honest with you. Elder is not as strict as he used to be.
Oh, please.
He letting us buy with stuff. Because an elder was telling me, he said, well, Vaughn, he did say this, and I understand this. He said, now, if I look down at these saints' legs, what are you going to think? I said, but the elder's a parent. You just see it. He said, I can't go around looking at these sister legs. And he said, no, that should not. I did not know they was coming to church. Everything came up there. Oh, nails, toes painted. And we'll say this, and y'all will let y'all kids.
Yeah.
And then these kids can't wait to get back.
Yeah, they come right to church and tell it. Come right to church and tell it.
Then the elder get up here. My heart is so broken for Sister Hammonds, y'all. Well, she'll be here. Don't ask no questions, just pray. Just pray. Read.
After our consecration, we are merely the
same place if we don't stop it there.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the same place. You're going to lose these children.
Yes.
You don't think it's the elder too strict and I'm going to just, we got to let them do some stuff. I promise you. Can't eat just one. They can't just take a little bit. Did you finish that paragraph, sister?
After our consecration, we are merely the stewards of a heavenly master who always knows what is best.
He knows what's best for us. And if you look around and use your head, if you look around, you see what's happening when churches let now how in the world is that young lady that came up with her hair cut off and red? How is she going to teach a conference in that thing? How is she going to teach a class in that conference?
After the I do, then what?
Now how is she going to sit up there and teach us? How is she going to do that? We tell us not to cut our hair, clip the ends, but don't cut it.
Amen.
Skip to the third paragraph.
The believers' awareness of the price paid at Calvary drove the early church to commit their all to the Lord.
Read.
They once had been in bondage to sin, but now they were free. They once had existed in misery and despair, but now they lived in peace and joy. Their lives had been changed, transformed by the grace of God. They, who at one time had been the enemies of God, were now reconciled by his blood.
Read.
What amazing mercy straight from the heart of God.
Okay. Growth of commitment and read.
The commitment to which God has called us as Christians is not a one-time experience.
Listen, read.
Rather, it is a process that develops as we mature in the Lord. As Paul stated in his letter to the Romans, commitment requires a sacrifice of ourselves and a separation from all the ungodly influences of the world.
Read that one more time.
Woo! As Paul stated in his letter to the Romans, commitment requires a sacrifice of ourselves and a separation from all the ungodly influences of the world.
When you make a commitment, we committed ourselves to the Lord. A commitment, saints. A sacrifice of ourselves. A sacrifice of ourselves. A sacrifice of ourselves. That you present your bodies a living sacrifice. Holy and acceptable. We're not acceptable to God the way we are dressing, the way we are doing. After Friday night, I done made a rededication. I will not be doing nothing no more. I promise y'all. Read.
What do you just go on down? In Romans 11, Paul explained how God had extended mercy to the Gentiles as well as to the Jews. God had chosen the Roman believers to whom Paul wrote, which the apostle affirmed in his opening of the
Wait a minute,
letter.
Sister Mom, where are you? You was at growth of commitment.
Hon, after Friday night, I don't know where.
Yes, ma'am.
But we all would like to see that again.